The Game has brought yet another one of his NXT favorites back to the company in Dexter Lumis. Today we will give you all of the details on Lumis's return and the creative plans that have been laid out for him, as well as some news about the upcoming WWE Draft and possible call-ups from NXT 2.0 to Raw and SmackDown. Despite not being properly introduced or shown as a member of the Monday Night Raw roster yet, there was a big angle starting early on this week's show, with multiple teases throughout that eventually ended up confirming the return of Dexter Lumis to WWE. For those unfamiliar with Lumis, he originally signed with WWE on February 2019. He immediately stood out from the rest of the roster as he portrayed a mysterious character who never spoke a single word and communicated mainly through paintings and art. By 2021, Lumis would get involved in a storyline with Johnny Gargano and his faction, The Way, eventually marrying Indi Hartwell and earning The Way's approval. But after NXT shifted their focus to younger talent with their rebranding to NXT 2.0, Lumis got lost in the field, leading to his unexpected release from WWE on April 2022. Despite not having any outstanding athletic or in-ring skills, Lumis more than makes up for it with his impeccable character work. He showed full commitment to his gimmick in his NXT run, as well as a very wide character range with his involvement in all sorts of storylines, from being a kidnapper to a hopeless romantic. Therefore, it's no surprise that he quickly became one of Triple H's favorites and is now back with WWE just 4 months after his release. After AJ Styles defeated The Miz in a no disqualification match on the main event of the August 8th edition of Monday Night Raw, Lumis was spotted in the background, being forcibly removed by security guards in the crowd area. Of course, this was all part of an angle, as if you paid close attention throughout the show, you could easily connect all of the dots from all the teases we got. Nikki Ash and Doudrop were seen dealing with a minor car accident in the background of Kevin Owens' parking lot interview in the first hour of the show. Later on, we saw some security guards rushing into the arena as another backstage segment between the teams of Alexa Bliss and Asuka and Bayley's newly formed stable happened. These events were all connected, as it's being reported that the story had Lumis generate chaos in the building with the car crash so he could quietly sneak into the arena while security was busy assisting the car crash victims. That's why we saw the security team rushing back into the arena while Bayley was speaking in her backstage segment, as the security guards were informed somebody had sneaked into the building. It was these same security guards who caught and escorted Lumis out of the building at the end of the show. The small details to help introduce new characters to the shows. He did it with Dakota Kai and Io Sky at SummerSlam, as well as with Karrion Kross on SmackDown. It's great to see new characters being introduced in creative and unexpected ways, as this adds dramatic feel to the shows that make them more enjoyable. And if current reports are accurate, we'll be getting a lot more drama with Lumis in the upcoming weeks. According to reports by Zero News, Lumis is returning to the company with his stalker gimmick, similar to the one he portrayed early in his NXT run, when he stalked and kidnapped members of the Undisputed Era in 2020. The idea is we'll be seeing more incidents similar to the car crash scenario in the following weeks, as Lumis will be looking for new ways to sneak into arenas to stalk several superstars on the Raw roster. For those wondering about a potential reunion between members of the Way faction, it seems like all of the former members will soon be a part of the Raw roster. Unfortunately, each will have separate gimmicks and won't reunite the stable that was formed on NXT. The Way was led by Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, who are both speculated to be returning to the company in the near future. The stable also included Austin Theory, who currently holds the Money in the Bank briefcase, and Indi Hartwell, who is currently on NXT 2.0 and rumored to be called up to the main roster soon in the upcoming draft. Speaking of the WWE Draft, we have some news on the planned dates for the two-night event, as well as some rumored call-ups from NXT 2.0 who will very soon become a part of the main roster. In another report by Zero News, the WWE Draft is currently being planned for the September 19th edition of SmackDown and the September 23rd edition of Raw. The format we've seen over the last couple of years, where the draft starts Friday on SmackDown and continues 3 nights later on Raw, will remain intact. The reports also add that Triple H wants the new era of WWE to be similar to the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression eras, in the sense that the company had multiple top stars, rather than one clear-cut top guy, and several A-tier names who were all almost classed as equals. While most of the sexual and extremely violent content from these eras is not expected to return, apparently we could start seeing a more edgy product on Raw from the draft on. As it was reported and confirmed by several sources last month, WWE had an agreement in place with the USA Network, where Raw airs every Monday, to return to a TV-14 format and ditch the TV PG rating that limited what the company could bring to life in its shows and the amount of blood and violence displayed on TV. The move is scheduled to be made official after the draft, where the company gets a chance to reset the rosters and organize their talent according to the plans they have for each. Finally, one of the most expected parts of the WWE Draft each year is the NXT call-ups that get promoted to the main roster. Here is a list of some of the NXT 2.0 talent that are scheduled to be a part of the draft and added to either Raw or SmackDown. Santos Escobar and the rest of Legado del Fantasma, Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction, Alba Fire, formerly known as Kaylee Ray, Zion Quinn, Ilya Dragunov, Nikita Lyons, and the aforementioned Indi Hartwell. Once again, many of these superstars are Triple H products, and it's widely believed he's behind most of these call-ups. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is that the game sees something in these talents and has creative plans for them. As under Vince McMahon, we saw countless NXT superstars promoted to the main roster without any special introduction or even any sort of creative plans, which is a surefire recipe for disaster. The expectation is that not only these call-ups already have creative plans ready from Triple H, but also for his recent signings, with Dexter Lumis being the latest one, and it seems like there are big things coming for him.